Thought I would do a quick update on the 120 gallon mbuna tank. And, well, as you can see, it is still thriving. There's a couple of fish holding, and not too much else to say. I mean, you know, it used to be that there was something actually going on with this tank, but really it's sort of just routine. You know, I do my weekly water change, usually when the water evaporates and gets low. That's how I know to do it usually. And other than that, this tank is really easy. I'm still running the auto feeder. I need to top that off about once a week. If you look over here, you can see there's still food in there right now. But, yeah. It's basically become a once a week ordeal with this tank. I mean, once a week feeding, once a week water change. The only thing I guess I do more than once a week is feed the fry that's in the tank below still. See the holding. Yellow lab right there is holding. That female has a really nice black stripe too. If that female mated with that male with the big black stripe, man, they probably have really nice looking fry, I'm guessing, because a lot of these yellow labs are just really good looking. Nice solid black stripes on them, all that fun. That's what you want. Look at this big guy. He's still nice and colored up, as is the counterpart of his that usually hangs over here. Yeah, this big guy over here. And the King Rusty, still same as ever. It seems like now that other fish are bigger, he's not nearly as much of the boss as he used to be. He used to be real mean, but I feel like now other fish are kind of up to his size. It's a little bit less of a deal. Take a look at the little guy down here and just give an update on this stuff. So I'm now running 200 micron socks. I honestly don't know if it even makes a damn difference, but hopefully I don't have to change them as much. I can tell from looking at this already that it's yeah, I mean, they're pretty clogged. So I don't think it's making too much difference in terms of time between changing. Let's see this little guy. Oh, there he is. And he's still doing good. I'm gonna try to eventually move him into a bigger tank. I just bought a stand that holds a 30-inch tank on top, and then it can hold either a 20 or 24-inch tank on the bottom, as long as it's not too tall. So I'm probably going to put a 10 gallon on the bottom, 20 long on the top, or possibly my 20 high on, or 29 on the top. We'll see. My 29 had some weird bubbles in the silicone. So I was kind of freaked out today. I was like, what the hell's going on? So I don't know what the deal was with that. We may need to even get rid of that tank. We'll see. But I still have my 20 long. That's a good tank, so. Oh, there he is coming out. This little guy. He's pretty cool. But, yeah. This tank is routine. And, honestly, if all I had done was this tank, I don't think I would have been nearly as satisfied as I am with that saltwater tank downstairs. And in many ways I do regret that this is not a saltwater tank, but I do like these guys, and I don't plan on breaking this down or anything anytime soon. Probably ride this out for a good while and you know, just see how these guys do. And if shit hits the fan or something horrible happens and they need to break this down, then when I redo it, it would most certainly become saltwater, I'm sure. But I do like these guys. They're interactive, and I feel like if this was a saltwater tank, there's no way that there'd be 50 fish in here. I mean, that's the one kind of cool thing about mbuna cichlids like this, is you can kind of overstock them. And you get this sort of dramatic, just tons of fish kind of effect. And, you know, it really is kind of cool. I mean, I feel like in saltwater, there's no way you could do this. I mean, you could do like a clown harem tank, or you could do like maybe like tons of damsels, but who the hell wants tons of damsels? No one wants that. I mean, in many ways, they're basically like cichlids, but they'd be all you have. It'd be like this. And if you're going to do saltwater, why would you do the same thing you could do in freshwater, right? So no, you would do something cool, some triggers or tanks or something. 4-foot tank, though, you know, tank police might get on me a little bit, but you know, we'll see. But you know, that wouldn't be for a long time, and these guys are doing so well. So this tank is probably going to stay like this for quite some time. And, yeah, you know, not to mention the expense. If this was a saltwater tank, could you imagine how much more this would cost? How much more labor, work, effort, all that? It would be a lot. I mean, it has the sump. Ultimately, if this was going to be a saltwater tank, I don't even know what I would do. I'd probably have to put the skimmer in here. But there's no freaking room for it with this crazy manifold I got. I don't know. I feel like I'd end up redoing the whole damn thing. I'd probably keep the drains and redo everything else. Or even maybe maybe even just get a whole new freaking sump and just redo the drains attached to that. Fuck. Yeah. Well, you never know what the future beholds. But this tank has served. This has been good so far. I mean, you know, I've got my supplies down here, the cichlid salt, got the buffer, trace elements. This is just some medicines and stuff. I haven't actually used any of this on this tank. It's just here so that it's not somewhere else, right? On the floor. But yeah, everything else is pretty much fine with this thing. One thing that did kind of tick me off a little is my avast reactor cracked. I don't know if you can see that, but yeah, a big crack right down it. I had to put the lid really far down. Now they offered to repair it, I guess. You know, I kind of just asked them to send me a whole new piece. They didn't seem to want to do that. I don't know. Maybe I'll press them a little bit. But, you know, I'm starting to think the design is almost a little flawed. I mean, I like this thing. I like the idea of it. But the way that the lid works and the way that it's pressed in with the O-ring, I think is bound to eventually crack on like this, basically. Just to crack it from the pressure. And I could see, I don't know, wanting to have more of like a gasket with like a screw down kind of thing as opposed to this, just because it's less prone to cracking. I mean, I like the rest of it. I think if instead of it just being this open-ended acrylic, if they had some kind of threaded thing, or maybe even like how a skimmer works, where there's like an O-ring and you push down and kind of twist half a turn or whatever, something like that might be an improvement to this design, so this crack would never form. So yeah, Avast, get your shit together. Make it like that. Make it how I said. But hopefully they'll fix this for me. I have no doubt they probably will. I sort of wish they would have just given me a new one. We'll see. But yeah, not too much else going on. Everything else pretty much the same in here. Like I said, routine. This tank is so easy. I kind of have been enjoying that one meme where it's like, oh, all you keep is large cichlids. You must be such an experienced aquarist. And It's kind of condescending, but there's some truth to it. I mean, this tank is so easy. I mean, if you do it right like this from the start, plumb it with a sump, have a shit ton of biomedia, filter socks, overstocked mbunas, no mixing, the way you're supposed to do it. If you do it all right, this is easy. I mean, it's almost too easy. So I can see why people, ultimately, myself included, dive into other types of fish keeping. But these guys are fun, and honestly, they're so interactive. My son, when he runs in here, he's only 2 years old, but he'll run up here and point to the fish, and the fish all come up, and it's hard to get that with some fish, especially smaller fish. I mean, these fish aren't exactly small, but they're not huge either. But they're smart. For their size, these fish are remarkably smart and interactive. And I think that's the one appeal of mbuna. I think even over peacocks and some others, these things are just so aware, ridiculously aware. I mean, aggressive, but aware. And sometimes I think aggressive means smart. Not always, but I think in the case of some of these fish, the reason they're so aggressive is because they're smart enough to be. They sort of almost know what they're doing. But, yeah, these guys are fun. Alright, well, other than that, not too much going on, and until next time, folks.